Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Akmal Hanny binti Mohd Zakky. I am from J4EC1104E1 group. In this video, I'm going to explain about the mini project from ECG 263 subject. Without any further ado, let's go. These are the contents that will be shown in this video. Introduction. Soil is one of the important elements found on this earth, which has been used in various types of sectors, especially in the field of engineering. With these, there are several types of soil tests that can be conducted on the soil in order to determine the characteristic of the soil in an area. Among the characteristics that can be identified are such as the moisture content of the soil, the permeability of the soil, the texture of the soil, and so on. Each characteristic can be identified by using some special tests that have been set by engineers in the past. For example, in order to observe the moisture content of the soil, the water content test can be conducted on the soil in an area. So, in this task, we have been required to perform 5 types of the experiments in order to determine some of the characteristics of the soil by using the experiments that have been studied in the laboratory, which is water content, particle density, particle size and grading texture, field density, and also permeability. These are 5 types of soil experiments that will be conducted in this mini project video, which is the first one is water content, particle density, particle size and grading texture, field density, and also the permeability experiment. The first experiment is water content. So, the objective for the water content experiment is to determine the amount of water or moisture content of the soil in terms of its dry weight by direct heating. These are some of the apparatus that have been used in the water content experiment, which is the first one is 3 trays, weighing balance, and also 3 packets of soil, which consists of 1.5 kg to 3.0 kg of soil. These are the procedures that has been used in the water content experiment. The first step is we need to provide the necessary apparatus like has been mentioned before, and then the second step is weigh and record the mass of the trays, and then pour a packet of soil into a tray whose weight has been recorded. The fourth step is weigh and record the mass of the tray containing the soil. The fifth step is repeat the step from 2 to 4, then label the tray as sample 1, sample 2, and sample 3. Then place and leave the trays filled with soil at the open area for about 24 hours. The next procedure will be shown in the video. Based on the video, after the trays that filled with soil has been placed and left at the open area for about 24 hours, the mass of the 3 trays need to be weighed and recorded. This is the result that has been determined from the water content experiment. The data shows that the moisture content value of the soil sample that has been determined is equal to 0.994. It shows that the soil sample has the small amount of the moisture content in it. The next experiment is particle density. The objective for this experiment is to determine the particle density of the soil. These are the apparatus that has been used in the particle density experiment: soil, weighing balance, water, and also 3 glass of jars. These are the procedures that has been made in the particle density experiment. It has been started by provide the necessary apparatus that has been mentioned before. The next step is weigh and record the mass of every glass jar with the lid. Then label all of the glass jars as sample 1, sample 2, and also sample 3. The fourth step is pour the water until it fills the glass jars that contain the soil. Then shake it well. After that, wait and record the mass of it. The next step is empty the glass jars that contain the soil and water, and then fill the glass jars with water and record the mass. The last step is do the calculation in order to get the average of particle density value for glass jars. This video shows that the 4th procedures for the particle density experiment. This is the result that has been determined from the particle density experiment. The data shows that the average particle density value of the soil sample that has been determined is equal to 1.245. Based on the data obtained, we can conclude that the value for the particle density is accurate, since the data that has been obtained is in between the typical particle density range of soil. The next experiment is particle size and grading texture. The objective for this experiment is this test is performed to determine the percentage of different grain size contained within a soil. The apparatus that has been used in this type of experiment are soil, measuring scale, tray, and also DIY sieving. These are the procedure that has been made in the particle size grading and texture experiment. It has been started by provide the necessary apparatus like has been mentioned before. The next step is weigh 500 grams of soil. Then start the sieving process by using the most largest sieve size. Pour the 500 gram soil onto the sieve and start the sieve process. Next, put the soil retained on the sieve into the plastic container. Then wait and record the mass of it. After that, repeat the experiment by using the other sieves with different size in decreasing order. Lastly, do the calculation in order to get the cumulative percentage retained, then plot the graph. In this video, shows that how the sieving process started in the procedure. This is the result that has been determined from the particle size grading and texture. The data shows that the cumulative percentage passing is high at the larger sieve size and low at the smaller sieve size. Based on the data obtained, we can conclude that the soil sample that has been used for the experiment is mostly have the sandy texture, since the percentage is higher at the sand area. The next experiment is field density. The objective for this type of experiment is to determine the dry density of in situ soil. The apparatus that has been used in this experiment are tin container, or we call it as steel container, measuring scale, and also rubber hammer. These are the procedures that has been made in order to do the field density experiment. It has been started by provide the necessary apparatus like has been mentioned before. The next step is take the dimension of the steel containers in order to calculate the volume of it. Wait and record the mass of the 3 steel containers. Then, at the side, start to tap hardly the steel container by using the rubber hammer until it embeds entirely into the ground. And then, take the steel container out from the ground gently. Then, repeat the process by using the other steel containers. The next step is flatten the surface soil inside the steel container until it looks like that. The next one is, lastly, wait and record the mass of the steel containers which contain the wet soil. In this video shows that how does the steel container has been tapped into the ground hardly by using the rubber hammer. result that has been determined from the field density experiment. The data shows that the average dry density value of the soil sample that has been determined is equal to 0.777. Based upon the data that has been determined, the average of dry density value has been obtained by using the formula that include the values of bulk density and also the water content that has been get from the first experiment, since the soil that has been used for these two types of experiment was at the same site. The last experiment in this mini project soil is permeability. The objective for this permeability experiment is to determine the coefficient of permeability of soils. There are 5 types of apparatus that has been used in the permeability experiment, which is the first one is soil, and then measuring scale or weighing balance, plastic container, 3 bottles, and also water. These are the procedures that need to be done in the permeability experiment. It has been started by provide the necessary apparatus like has been mentioned before. The next step is cut the upper bottles and make holes under the bottles. Then take and record the dimension for the holes and the cross-sectional area of the bottle. The next step is put the soil into the bottle, half of it. Then compact the soil by using the rubber hammer. Take and record the height of the soil sample. After that, label the H1, H2, H3 and H4 at the bottom. Then label also the height for the water surface at the plastic container. Take the dimension height from H1, H2, H3 and also H4 to the water surface level. After that, put the bottle inside the plastic container. Then pour the water into the plastic container until the water reaches the water surface level. Then pour also water inside the bottle until it reaches H1. Last step is start to record the time when the water level from H1 reached to H2. Record also the time when the water level from H2 to H3 and H3 to H4. Repeat the procedures for the second and third bottles. In this video shows that how does the permeability procedure has been done from the first until the last step. This is the result that has been determined from the permeability experiment. The data shows that the average of permeability value of the soil sample that has been determined is equal to 4.20 times 10 power of negative 6. Based on the data obtained, we can conclude that the type of soil has been identified, which is in between the very fine sand and the organic and inorganic silt, and it has the moderate permeability condition of the soil. This is the discussion for this mini project. Meanwhile, this is the conclusion for this mini project. Lastly, these are some of the reference that has been used in this mini project.